Hello everyone. I'm just going to take 1 second to get set up here. Okay, well today I'm just going to get started. So today I want to talk about, it's week 2, we're entering week 2 of our 30-day blogging challenge. And I wanted to give a prize out for each week. I thought it would be a nice idea to encourage you along the way. So I'm not going to do that until I'm at the very end, but we're going to give out the week 1 prize. But don't worry, there's going to be a prize for each week. There'll probably be 4 in total. And then whoever manages to do all 30 days, there's going to be a special prize that each of you will receive besides the badge. So there will be a prize today, and I'll tell you at the end. So let's see. Today's topic is fresh content ideas for your blog posts. So when you're blogging for 30 days in a row, you're probably thinking, okay, what am I going to write about? So the first few days, it's exciting and you can come up with ideas and you probably saved up some ideas. But what do you do when you hit day 14 or day 21 and you need to still come up with content ideas? So what I want to talk about, because this group is called Blog Your Brand, I want you to think on brand when you come up with your ideas for how to write your content. So hi everyone, I see that a couple people are on here. If you don't mind, for some reason it doesn't work on my laptop, so I can't see who's there. So if you want to just give me a heart or a thumbs up or something so it tells me your name, so maybe I could address you directly. So what to write about when you're blogging for 30 days in a row. So I know a lot of you have businesses, and that's why you're on the Blog Your Brand group. And some of you don't have businesses, you just want to blog. But even if you don't have a business, you still have a personal brand. So everything that you write about, you want to make sure that it represents your brand. So the first thing I want to talk about is, what kind of feeling do you want people to leave with when they interact with you, your blog, or your brand? So think about what your brand represents. So I jotted down some ideas of a few people who have been participating regularly in the challenge. And I'm just going to tell you the feeling that I'm getting that comes across when I read your blog posts, and then hopefully it's on the mark. And if I'm way off, then you might want to think about what you're writing about, because I'm getting all my information from your blog posts. So I'm going to start with Kristen, because I think hers is easy, and she did the challenge last time, so she's pretty good and knows what she's doing. But her brand is all about creating moments, and she makes candles and she makes soap and a few other different products and skincare. So everything in her product line is named after moments, and the kind of moments that you're creating for yourself with her products. And I think that comes across a lot in her blogging. So whether it's you're buying a candle because you want to have a relaxing moment, one of them's called, I think, putting on sweatpants, or there's different feelings that her products create. So it's all about self-care, being cozy, relaxing, or energized, depending on which of her products you want to use to create that feeling that you want. So I hope I'm getting that right, Kristen. So next thing I want to do is move on to Sharon. Now Sharon writes a lot about medical topics, and she's very informed. She keeps on top of things. She's smart. She talks about people being in control of their health. And when I read her blog, I get a friendly sense from her, to where things are put in terms that I can understand instead of in medical technology speak. And I just feel like I'm more informed about my health and my body, and I like to keep up with those facts. And there's always something that I learn from her brand. So Sharon, see if that is what you were trying to convey, and I think you do a good job of it. Now Pam, you had mentioned that you are going to be rebranding. So I wanted you to start thinking about what you want your brand message to be, and how you want people to feel about it when you're coming up with your new brand. I know you do, you make your own nail polish, and you make creative varnishes, and you give a lot of information about how to give a good manicure, and what are the purposes of all the steps of a manicure, and it's all on topic for you. So think about how you want people to feel. Do you want people to feel like, they're smart for doing their own manicure, or look how creative they can be with their manicure? I mean, if you're rebranding, your possibilities are endless. You can really choose now and decide what you want to be presenting. For Tonya, you talked about this week your fantasy tiny shop that you want to have, and you also mentioned the words cozy cottage, and you wrote once about visiting a bed and breakfast. So for you, what I get is you want to make people feel that kind of feeling with your products, that cozy cottage, weekend getaway kind of, in the bed and breakfast, or your little tiny shop where this elegant little shop comes up and you can buy little luxuries for yourself. And that's the feeling that I get. And I'm just going to do one more. Let me scroll down here a little. It's Cindy. I feel like your brand is more scientific because you talk a lot about pH and chemistry, and you have a kind of modern, cutting-edge feel to your skincare products. And you also write a lot about using locally grown herbs. And I think it's really interesting. People love to know those things, and that you can go in Colorado, you can go to someplace and you can buy your herbs, and then you can do this wonderful magical science thing and make these modern skincare products out of it. So I hope that's what you're all, what the message that I'm giving you, I hope that's what you've been trying to convey with your brand, because that's the kind of feelings that I'm getting as I interact with your blog. So if I'm wrong and I'm way off base on any of these, you might want to think about the things that you're writing about, because if that's not the message you're trying to convey, then you might want to make some adjustments. But I think most of you have been pretty clear so far, and I'm hoping that I'm right in how I'm assessing your brand. So I hope this sparks some ideas for blog posts, because there are so many ways that you can convey that feeling. And if you think about some of the brands that you love, like even gigantic brands like Chanel, what do you feel like when you go into a Chanel store, even if you're only going in and you're buying a lipstick, something that would be the least expensive thing that you could buy in Chanel. You may not be able to buy a Chanel jacket or a Chanel purse, but if you go into their store and you buy one nail varnish or one lipstick, and what is that feeling that you get when you interacted with the brand? Or just any brand. I mean, even like if you go to the Gap, what is the feeling that you're left with when you leave the Gap or Target? Or, what are some of your favorite stores that you'd like to go into? And how do they make you feel when you go there? And how do they make you feel when you interact with their customer service people? Or when you just read the directions of how to get around their store or their website? Or is their website easy to use? So think about all those things and how they relate to your brand, how you want your brand to create a feeling for people, and then how you can convey that in your blog. And with every interaction, really, because every social media post that you do that is for your brand, you're sending a message out into the world for people of how they're to perceive you. You're telling them how to feel about your brand. So make sure that you're conveying the right message that you want to. The next thing I wanted to talk about is brand personality. Because we all have a personality. Some people are bubbly, some people are quiet and calm, and some people are elegant. And your brand can also have a personality, and that will be infused by your personality. So think about, do you always want your brand to be happy, or do you always want your brand to be informative or friendly, or do you want your brand to be up here, very high level, or do you want it to be super friendly and cozy? Every brand has its own personality and how you present yourself. So do you want to be funny when you write your blog posts? Do you want to be super friendly? Do you want to be super energetic, or do you want to be calm and serene? And maybe if you make products that are all about wellness, you want there to be a sense of calm and stress relief. But then again, if you're making products that you want to energize people, you maybe want to have this upbeat personality. So if you make videos, you want to be, I'm not a super energetic person. So when I'm on here, I'm kind of just more calm and relaxed. And, I'm not the type to be jumping around the walls and making jokes and things like that. So also think of what kind of tone that you can put into your blog post, because you could write jokes in your blog posts and maybe people come to you because they like how funny you are and how funny you talk about your products and that you don't take things too seriously. It's just another idea of how to present yourself online. So, excuse me. The next thing is what's going on in your business. So a lot of times when I used to be a soap maker too, and it just becomes so second nature to us to do those kind of things that we don't realize that what we do is special. So what you do is special. If you make candles, or if you make soap, or you make nail polish, or if you knit sweaters, or even if you don't have a brand and you like to write about the foods that you eat or something, just your general activity or your lifestyle, or you want people to follow you around, what you do is special to other people. And you get comfortable with it, and you think that some things that that you do every day, your daily activities, aren't that interesting, but people do find them interesting. I would find watching someone make a candle fascinating, or I never thought that I could make soap, and how magical it is when it all comes together and you're just like, I just made that. Or I made a lotion. I remember the first time I made lotion, and I mixed some oils and I got out my blender and I put in some scents, and I couldn't believe it. It turned into a lotion, and it stayed that way. It didn't break down. I was like, this is magic. So for people to see behind the scenes like that, it's always interesting. So what's going on in your business? What plans do you have upcoming in your business? Are you adding something to your product line? Let your readers in, and don't forget that to them it's fascinating and it's special, and it might be something that you do every day, but it can be a really interesting blog post just to show them the tiniest little thing, even how you make your scent blends, or where you buy your lavender, or how you choose which oils that you put in a formula, and how many testing, especially if you're making something like skincare, how many testing formulas do you have to go through before you finally get the one that you know is the product that you're going to present to the world. I find that stuff fascinating, and I think that anyone who's interested in your products and is following your blog would also be very interested in that type of content. And it doesn't always have to be something that you wrote. You can always, if you're keeping up with your industry, you might want to pass news on along to them that you think is appropriate for your audience. So you can curate that content for them. You can tell them what it means, break it down into simpler terms. Sharon does this really well. She keeps up with the medical news, things that are going on, new research that is being discovered, and tests that are going on. And she makes it really simple and friendly and easy for you to understand. So if you have a health issue that is affecting you and your family, it can really be calming to have someone explain it to you in simple terms and realize that it's not this crazy, complicated subject that can't be tackled, and that you don't have control over your health. And the same thing with products. It can be you have a unique point of view in the world based on where you're coming from with your products, and you can share that with your audience. So let me check my notes here. And also, on the same topic of what's going on in your business, if you're presenting every brand, whether they're a lifestyle brand or not, they're still presenting some kind of lifestyle to the world. And make sure that if you're included in your own blog post, that you are living that lifestyle, and that you're not telling people what to do and not living the life, if you know what I mean. Share your experiences and have them be real experiences, and give them a peek behind the curtain at your real world and how it relates to your brand. So I hope that makes sense. The next topic I want to talk about, and we mention this every time that we're coming up with ideas for blog posts, is the how-to blog post. And what is so excuse me, what is so special about how-to blog posts is that a lot of times people are not, if you're trying to attract new customers, people are not searching for you or your company name most of the time. They're searching for the answer to their problem. So if you have how-to blog posts of how to solve your skincare issues, or how to get the perfect manicure, or how to soften your skin, or how to, I'll think of all the results that you get from your products. People are looking for those results. So when you write about those topics, they're out there in the world in the search engines, and that's how people can find you, because no one is searching for me. No one's searching for Donna DeRosa when they go onto Google, but they might be searching for the answers that I have to their problems, or how to blog, or any of my life coaching topics that I write about. They're not looking for me. I'm not the celebrity coach. So people may search for Chanel, or they may search for Yves Saint Laurent, but they're not going to find those types of brands by searching how to get the perfect manicure. They're not going to find YSL nail polish. But that's how they're going to find you. So at least until you get your brand to a point where people are searching for your brand, if your brand is strong enough. But when you're starting out, it's a great way to attract new customers, to do how-to, especially if you do video content, because YouTube is a huge search engine. It's owned by Google, and people type their problems into YouTube search engine all the time, and then see what they find. And if you have content on that subject, maybe they'll find you. Excuse me, because I have to take a drink of water. So, and it doesn't have to be how do you make your products or how to, it can be tips on how to use your products. You can show your products in use. You can show natural ways that you can take care of your skin. It doesn't have to be the skin cleanser that you sell. You could be telling them that they could put lemon juice on their face or something, like just little tips like that. Like anything that you think is still on brand is a great way to be found. The next type of post is a results post or, a case study post. So if you have customers who have had you've had success with, maybe you can get them to be a case study for you where you can show your success stories online. That's a great way to do posts. It's a great way to include your customers who are loyal, to spotlight them in some way. People love to read about other people and how they found your brand and how your products help them. And just to show your personal victories and share them with your audience, and sharing not only with your audience, but with an audience member. I think that's a great way that people can say, you know what, if that helped her, that's going to help me too. And it's a great way to showcase your products and have it still be entertaining and not just be selly, I'm selling this cream. You're showing it actually working on someone. Another thing, an idea, and you have to be careful with this one, but I'm sorry I'm coughing so much, is that we're not all perfect, and to share your mistakes in your blog posts. You don't want to admit a lot of horrible mistakes in the background, but we all work. If you're a product creator, you work by trial and error all the time. You might have ideas for products, and then you work on it until you get it right. Like, for example, Kristen, I know that you were working on a deodorant formula, and you were having people test different samples and things for you until you found the one that you really liked. And I think it would be interesting for people, now that you found the perfect one, to know what you decided to nix and why. And so what they should be looking out for when they're looking for a natural deodorant that they may not want to have because you tried it and it didn't work. And also, you involved your audience in that search. You had some loyal people who helped test you along the way. And showing that much due diligence in how you're creating a product just gives it a level of safety that you feel more comfortable with. So it's not just sharing your mistakes, but it's sharing the ultimate victory at the end. And people love to see stories about people who triumph, and where you're working so hard on a brand, and then yes, you finally did it, and now it's being presented to the world as this wonderful product. So that's another idea, is to not be afraid of all the steps you had to go through and revealing some of them along the way to get to where you had these products that are great and that people are going to love. Another thing to think about is, what have you been your most popular posts? So look back through your archives. If you use WordPress, you can look at your stats. I'm sure that the other blogging platforms have some kind of statistical analysis that you can go into and see what have been your most popular blog posts, and just emulate them. What resonated with people? What has worked for you in the past? And try to come up with ideas that are very similar, and or at least along a similar theme or a similar type of post. Because if it worked before, chances are it's going to work again. It's your proven formula. So that's just another tidbit to throw out there. And two more things. One is, it really helps to have an editorial calendar. And it doesn't have to be a big, complicated editorial calendar. But if you're going to be a blogger for your business, people are going to expect you to be consistently blogging and to have a consistent schedule. And the best way to do that is come up with any kind of, like I have, you can see behind me all these Post-it notes. That's sort of my year overview. But then I also have a calendar that I use, that I create like month by month, week by week. It doesn't have to be overly complicated in detail, just jotting down ideas that if you do want to write how-to posts, that every Monday you write about how-to, if that is your topic, so that you don't have to think about it all through the week. What am I going to write about on Monday? You're like, okay, Monday is a how-to, and there are 4 Mondays in this month, or there are 5 Mondays in this month. So you plot out what your how-tos are going to be about, and then you kind of know in advance. It just takes a level of stress away. of what to blog about all the time. If you have a calendar, you start planning out in advance, and you can start jotting ideas down throughout the week, and just keep it on your phone. You can keep it on paper. You can have a book. You can just have it on your laptop computer, whatever kind of calendar you like to use. Some people like to write in a journal. Whatever works for you. When it comes time to blog and that Monday comes around, you're really going to be relieved that you're like, oh, thank God, it's How To Monday. And it's just going to make it so much easier for you. The other thing that I do is I keep a file of ideas. And what I actually do, I have some documents where I just make a big long list of ideas, and then when I'm kind of struggling for something to write about that week, I look at these ideas and I see if any of them are relevant or anything or I want to explore more closely that week. And then I start to keep draft versions of some of my blog posts in my blog software itself. So I'll write a title, and then I'll keep a draft with a couple of ideas, maybe just a little outline. And once in a while I open them and I'll play around with them. So I kind of have some of these halfway done, third of the way done posts at the ready. So if all of a sudden I realize, oh, it's 10 o'clock and this is the night I send out my newsletter and I haven't blogged yet, I can open one of those folders. It's sort of half done already. And then I can be like, okay, I'm going to just concentrate on this for a half hour and I'm going to get a blog post out of this. So if you keep a file of ideas, and just, again, they could be on your phone. I have an iPhone, and in the notes section, I'm just constantly writing down little ideas, and then I try to translate them, and little by little, I try to fill them out. If they're not clear in my head yet, I don't want to forget it, because if you try to keep it in your head, you're never going to remember when the time comes. You're going to be like, what did I say about, there was something I wanted to say about that, and I can't remember what it is. And a lot of your brainstorming can just sort of disappear. So just jot it down on a little phone app, or on a little notebook that you keep in your purse, or in a file on your laptop. Keep a file of ideas at the ready. And I mean, I have a lot of them by now, and you'll realize when you just don't know what to write about. Sometimes I just scroll through and I'm like, oh, this one, I've been dying to explore this topic further. That's what I'm going to write about. Instead of every time you're going to blog to sit down and start from scratch. It just helps to be a little along the way. So that is my last idea for content creation. And we are 24 minutes into this Facebook Live. Sorry, I didn't realize I was rambling on so much. But now it's time. I promised that I was going to give away a prize for the first week. So this week's prize is a $10 Amazon gift card. And in reading all of the posts throughout the week from the challenge, there was one that stood out to me because it was very informative, and it did mention products in it, but it kind of did it in a subtle way. And I thought it was a really good way to give information in a blog post without seeming like you're trying to sell something, and then subtly mentioning the product line. And actually made me want to go and look at the product and check it out. So this week's prize goes to Pam Rogers. And her post was called Dry Winter Skin, Moisturize. Now Pam makes nail varnishes, nail polish. And the post was it wasn't about nails, but it was about hands, which directly relate to her product line. So it was about how to keep your hands moisturized, because of course you can have the greatest manicure in the world, and if your hands look terrible, you need to take care of your hands. So congratulations, Pam, you are the week 1 winner. And I thought it was a really nice way of being informative. I learned something about how to moisturize my hands, and I got excited about some of the products that you mentioned, especially your scented cuticle oils. I'm going to have to check those cuticle pens out. So I think that wraps it up for this episode of Facebook Live. I am going to go on here and just see what kind of comments are coming in, because they're not showing me on my phone for some reason. So let me see. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Amanda. Thank you for joining me live. So Sharon says, those drafts help me as well. Thanks for taking your time. Oh, you're welcome, Sharon, and thank you. And I always I have so many drafts that after a while, if you have too many drafts, that can be a problem too. But I'm the kind of person that has a million ideas a day, and I think it's really fun to start on new ideas, but you have to keep trudging along in your everyday business. So it's a little fun way for me to work on my new idea for a while, and then save it for later. Amanda says, Batty's Bath is brilliant at doing how-to articles. Oh, okay. I'm going to check them out then. Thank you, Amanda. So does anyone have any questions? I'm going to refresh this and just see if you have any questions for this week. I know we've been on here for a long time already. Sharon says, I'm doing a 60-day challenge. Sometimes I speak before I think. I do too. Great info. Thank you, Amanda. It's funny, Facebook Live doesn't like to work on my laptop while I'm on my phone at the same time. So I hope I'm not missing any of your comments. But I think I got to them all. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me live, and the replay will be available in a little bit. So if you're watching the replay and you have any questions about what we talked about, or if you want me to help you brainstorm with some ideas that can relate to your brand, just write down below any questions or comments, and I will check back later to see if anyone has anything they want to ask. And other than that, I'm going to refresh this one more time. And then, oops, where did it go? Okay, I'm not seeing anything else, so I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for joining me. And so, like I said, next week I'm going to probably try to do it at 3 o'clock because that was the runner-up in our time choice. So, for now, take care and happy blogging. Bye.